Good morning. My name is Maria Overton. I am the Systems Management Administrator for the FDOT Systems Implementation Office here in Central Office. And I'm going to talk to you today about road diets and what the requirements from the department are. The formal definition for a lane elimination project or road diet or lane reduction, as we have it in the FDOT design manual, is projects that are intended to reduce the number of travel lanes and effective width of the road to achieve systemic improvements. Some of the benefits of a road diet or lane elimination can, for example, it could provide more livable environment. It could help the local businesses. It could also serve as a traffic calming. It can provide that tunnel traffic calming effect. The same way that it contributes to the businesses, it can contribute to the economic development of the community. Also, the travelway can be used to accommodate bike lanes, sidewalks, on-street parking, landscaping, in refuge islands and bulb outs. And it can also create a buffer between the travel lane and the sidewalk. So on the screen, these are some of the resources where you can find guidance not only on the submittal and review and approval process, but the department has the statewide lane elimination guidance, which, by the way, is currently under review. We want to make sure that we provide the best guidance for the applicants. So in addition, the FDM Chapter 126 has the requirements for the submittal process, and the required forms can be found in FDM Chapter 103. The link to the statewide guidance can be found in the Systems Implementation website. So who can apply? Who can be the applicant for lane elimination projects? Well, it could be a local government entity or the department itself. And any private entity may only submit a request through a local government entity. So some of the requirements that you need to keep in mind when submitting a lane elimination project is that the project needs to comply with AASHTO and FDOT design criteria. It must follow NEPA or National Environmental Policy Act when using federal funds. If the project has a PD&E phase, the requirements of this chapter are the FDM 126 chapter must be followed during the PD&E study prior to the selection of a preferred alternative. And so if the design, if the alternative or the typical section that you're proposing for a lane elimination project does not comply with AASHTO or DOT criteria, you need to be aware that a design exception or variation will be required. So what could be a good candidate for lane elimination? Well, on the screen we have an example of a 4-lane roadway that which already could be operating like a 3-lane road. So you can convert a 4-lane roadway into a 3-lane road or 2 lanes and double left turn lane. And this potentially roadways with ADT of 20,000 or less. Now remember, you have to be consistent or make sure that you're consistent with the LRTPs, TIPs, and TDPs. Need to analyze the impacts or potential impacts to different areas of the network. And public involvement activities must be done in compliance with the FDOT Public Involvement Handbook. I wanted to point out that there are some available crash modification factors and crash reduction factors, and these can be found in the CMF clearinghouse. There's the link to it. So these should be part of your incorporated into the analysis for the project. So FDM 126. Like I said, it lays out the submittal process or application process for lane eliminations. The first step is when the applicant contacts the district lane elimination coordinator. Then there will be a preliminary review by the district that the district lane elimination coordinator will coordinate with other areas within the district. And the final step will be the final review and approval by central office. So like I mentioned, there are some forms, and these can be found in FDM 103. And I'll show you here the forms. I understand that these can be difficult to read, but the purpose is so that you can get familiar with them. So the first form is 126A, which is the initial meeting checklist. This is where the district will let the applicant know what type of methodology in analysis, what type of data and information will be required. The next form is the methodology checklist. It's a little bit more detailed. And again, feel free to go to FDM and look at these in more detail. 126C is the initial notice to central office. This one requires concurrence from the district. And last is 126D, which is the final review and approval notice to central office. And this one, of course, it also requires concurrence signatures by the district. And if approved, the chief engineer will sign the approved document. Now, I must note that all resubmittals must include an updated and signed Form 126D along with the updated document. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it back to Alan, and he's going to talk about leading pedestrian in Turville.